America, remember college? That thing you used to do after high school? Yeah, well, it's not having a great time. See, back in 2010, college enrollment was riding high. Over 18 million students were hitting the books, chasing dreams, and racking up student debt. But then, something strange happened. The numbers started to fall. By 2021, enrollment had plummeted to 15.4 million. Sure, there was a slight bump in 2024, but it wasn't enough to turn the tide. Turns out, Americans were falling out of love with the whole college thing. And honestly, who could blame them? With tuition fees skyrocketing faster than a SpaceX rocket, the return on investment was starting to look as appealing as a used car salesman with a twitchy eye. But the financial burden was only part of the story. A perfect storm of cultural shifts, political interference, and bad decisions had conspired to create an existential crisis for American higher education. So buckle up, folks, because we're about to dive headfirst into the murky waters of the great collapse of U.S. higher education. Remember those college brochures boasting state-of-the-art facilities and renowned professors? Turns out they forgot to mention the part where the state-of-the-art facility is a condemned squash court, and the renowned professor is a part-timer who also drives for Uber. Across the country, universities are facing a financial reckoning of epic proportions. Take Sonoma State University, for example. Facing a $24 million budget shortfall, they're considering slashing 22 majors, 6 departments, and over 100 faculty positions. And it's not just Sonoma State. West Virginia University found itself staring down a $45 million deficit in 2023. Their solution? Axing 28 majors and 143 faculty positions. These budget shortfalls are forcing universities to make impossible choices, like a student trying to decide between ramen noodles for a week or one night out with friends. Except in this case, the ramen noodles are essential courses, and the night out is, well, the entire humanities department. And as universities tighten their belts, the quality of education inevitably suffers. It's a vicious cycle that only leads to further enrollment declines, creating a higher education death spiral. Here's a fun fact that's not so fun. Men are abandoning college like it's a sinking ship with a cargo hold full of spiders. Back in the 1970s, men made up a solid 58% of college students. Fast forward to today, and that number has plummeted to a measly 40%. So, what's driving this mass exodus of dudes from the hallowed halls of academia? Some argue it's the rising cost of college. Others point to the shrinking job market for traditional male-dominated fields. And then there's the theory that video games and internet porn have simply become too damn entertaining. Whatever the reason, the fact remains, men are voting with their feet, and those feet are marching straight past the library and into the warm embrace of the trades. Now, before we all start lamenting the decline of masculinity and the rise of the man-child, let's be clear, there's nothing inherently wrong with men choosing alternative paths. But the fact that so many feel like college is no longer a worthwhile investment speaks volumes about the state of higher education in America. It's like showing up to a party only to find out the keg is tapped, the music sucks, and the only people left are your weird uncle and his taxidermy collection. Remember that scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where the Ark of the Covenant melts the faces off those Nazi jerks? Well, that's basically what's happening to colleges across America, except instead of melting faces, it's closing campuses and merging institutions faster than you can say student loan forgiveness. Since 2010, a staggering 76 colleges and universities have shut their doors for good, leaving behind a trail of broken dreams, unemployed professors, and a whole lot of unsold yearbooks. Institutions like Clarion University, California University of Pennsylvania, and the College of St. Rose have all fallen victim to the perfect storm of declining enrollment and financial woes. It's like the higher education Hunger Games out there, and only the richest, most prestigious institutions are surviving. And even they are starting to sweat. The Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia predicts that as many as 80 more colleges could go belly up by the end of 2026. Thanks to the economic anxiety caused by the Great Recession of the late 2000s, birth rates plummeted, and fewer babies mean fewer college students down the line. The future of American higher education is looking about as bright as a black hole. Section 5. The chilling effect. So far we've talked about budget cuts, falling enrollment, and enough college closures to make a college admissions officer weep. But as bad as all that is, it's only part of the story. Because lurking beneath the surface of this higher education horror show is a far more insidious threat. the slow and steady erosion of academic freedom. Across the country, universities are facing increasing pressure to toe the line, both politically and ideologically. From crackdowns on campus protests to the chilling effect of the anti-DEI movement, the message is clear: conform or face the consequences. In states like Texas and Florida, Republican-led legislatures have waged war on anything that even remotely resembles critical race theory, effectively banning books, censoring curricula, and creating an environment of fear and intimidation for professors and students alike. Faced with the prospect of losing funding, tenure, or even their jobs, many professors are self-censoring, avoiding controversial topics, and generally keeping their heads down, which is great news if you're a fan of intellectual conformity and the suppression of dissenting voices. For the rest of us, it's a five-alarm fire. The liberal arts are often the first to go when the budget axe starts swinging. They don't teach you how to code, manage a spreadsheet, or build a robot. Section 6, the Trumpian Shadow. Speaking of five-alarm fires, let's talk about the smoldering dumpster fire that is the Trump administration's legacy on higher education. From his disastrous attempts to dismantle the federal student loan program, to his xenophobic policies that sent shockwaves through international student communities, Trump's approach to higher education could best be described as hostile ignorance. One of Trump's most damaging legacies was his relentless assault on foreign students. From visa revocations and deportations to the infamous Muslim ban, his administration sent a clear message that international students were not welcome in the United States. Over 1,700 foreign students, many from the Middle East and South Asia, were targeted, often for their activism or political stances. And as if that wasn't bad enough, Trump also set his sights on the federal student loan program, proposing to privatize the entire system and saddle millions of students with even more debt. It was a classic case of Trumpian greed, putting corporate profits ahead of the needs of everyday Americans. Thankfully, his attempts to dismantle the program were largely unsuccessful, but the damage was done. The message was clear: higher education is not a right, it's a privilege reserved for the wealthy and well-connected. Section 7. The Business of Education. Now you might be thinking, surely there must be some adults in the room who are trying to fix this mess. And you'd be right. Sort of. The problem is, the adults in the room are often more interested in turning a profit than educating students. Over the past few decades, there's been a disturbing trend of universities adopting a for-profit business model. Instead of viewing themselves as institutions of higher learning, they've become obsessed with rankings, endowments, and attracting customers, read students with deep pockets. This shift towards a more corporate mentality has had a devastating impact on the quality of education. Universities are increasingly relying on part-time adjunct professors who are paid a pittance and treated like disposable cogs in the academic machine. Class sizes are ballooning, resources are dwindling, and the focus has shifted away from critical thinking and towards job training. Section 8. The Liberal Arts Lament. In the midst of all this chaos and despair, there's one group that's feeling the pain more acutely than most: the liberal arts. Remember those classes you took on philosophy, history, and literature? The ones that taught you how to think critically, analyze information, and appreciate different perspectives? Yeah, well, those are the first to go when the budget axe starts swinging. In a world obsessed with STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, that makes them about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. But here's the thing: the skills you learn in a liberal arts education are more important than ever. In a world awash in information, the ability to think critically, analyze data, and communicate effectively is essential. The liberal arts teach you how to learn, how to adapt, and how to solve problems. They make you a more well-rounded, informed, and engaged citizen. Section 9. A Bleak Horizon. So, there you have it. The great collapse of U.S. higher education in all its depressing glory. It's a perfect storm of budget cuts, cultural wars, political interference, and a healthy dose of corporate greed. But before you give in to despair, there is a glimmer of hope. Because amidst the wreckage of this once great system, a new model of education is emerging. One that is more affordable, accessible, and relevant to the needs of the 21st century. One that values critical thinking, social justice, and the pursuit of knowledge for its own sake. This new model of education won't be built on the backs of students drowning in debt or professors struggling to make ends meet. It will be built on a foundation of collaboration, innovation, and a shared commitment to creating a more just and equitable society. It will be messy, it will be challenging, and it will require a fundamental rethinking of everything we thought we knew about higher education. But it is a challenge we must embrace if we want to create a future where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential.
So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and let's turn the page on a new adventure together. Get ready to experience books like never before, only on VBook 360. Like, comment, and share to support the channel and keep the video magic alive. Thank you for stopping by. And remember, every video has a story, and every story deserves to be shared. See you in the next video.